We're going to be doing a live interview with, well, the founder of AC/DC. I am excited. I really am. Coming up right after this, coming out of the Blue Mountains, is Dave Evans.
Galaxy 107fm.
I did get that right, isn't it? You're out of the Blue Mountains right now?
Yep. Yeah. I'm here in the Blue Mountains, west of Sydney. Beautiful here.
Okay. I used to play for Canterbury Bankstown, so I'm quite familiar with your area.
Yeah. Canterbury Bankstown.
Used to do a lot of shopping.
I'm an eastern suburbs boy myself. So.
Oh, fair enough. Well, I think we're both too old to bloody play ourselves, so let's support the best team around. Yeah, I was around when Lammy was the captain.
Yeah. Look, every team has its time, as it were, at the top. Whatever sport it is, just that's what sport's about.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. But having said that, I was only on a C team, so I never really got paid for the job. It was just the white and blue outfit, really, that was the attraction.
That's great.
Hi, Buddy.
Who have we got on live
We've
right
got
now?
Auckland Visitor and Buddy Good.
Buddy Good. Nice to have you along, Buddy. Today we're joined, and thank you for everybody joining us live here at Galaxy 107 FM. You couldn't get better than this. Yes, the founder of AC/DC, Dave Evans, is joining us, and we're talking about the Blue Mountains right now. You've had a hell of a time over there with the fires and everything like that in the Blue Mountains.
Yes, I was here at the time when all that happened. It's one of those things. You live in the Blue Mountains, you've got to expect this kind of thing.
Exactly. In fact, I got a friend of mine that is a absolute superb artist coming out of La Grande. He's also a professional firefighter that was fighting the fires in California, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, they're getting bad over there too.
Oh, hell yes, and they had to get all these Canadians in to go and jump into the fires. Now, I can understand not liking your cousins over the border, but making them jump into a fire is a bit much. Anyway, we're going to go live. Now, let me just tell you, online right now we have 4,139,000.
There's a request.
How many?
Already.
4,139,000.
Wow.
It's a little bit down. We're usually about 5 million.
Wow.
But we'll work that out. Don't you worry. It will peak up very shortly. And believe me, Marilyn D. in Yates Center, Kansas says hi. Oh, okay. I'll get that in. I will. But let's go live.
Yeah.
We're live Facebook.
We're live Facebook. That's right, you're right here at Galaxy 107 FM. It is 13 after 11 o'clock, 22 degrees. Scary. Yes, because I win today, which is, it's been a while since I've won on the temperature. Weatherman said 18 degrees, Barbara said 19 degrees. So, you know something? They both win first, but I end up with the crown today. Thursday, May the 7th, and believe me, I have been so chomping at the bit to do this one today because, believe me, we're talking to Dave Evans, the founder of AC/DC. Now, Dave, just before we start off, I've been handed a note. Marilyn Dean, Yates Center, Kansas, says hi.
Hi, Marilyn.
And believe me, she's a big fan of Galaxy. She listens all the time. She couldn't wait to have you do an interview with me. Now, born in Wales and immigrated to Australia at the age of 5.
Yes.
Obviously, you had no choice in that.
No, I had no choice at all. It was like being kidnapped, actually. And such a such a culture shock too. Australia's nothing like Wales.
Well, it isn't. But on our part here in New Zealand, may I give you the official New Zealander kia ora katoa, my friend? Or should I just say, hey, a cobber?
G'day, mate, as they say in Australia, yes.
Yeah, love that. Yeah, we'll have a toys together when we meet up together. What do you reckon?
Okay.
Now, living in Australia as a singer, living in the land of kangaroos and didgeridoos pretty much, aren't you?
Well, yeah, because we moved to Townsville originally, beautiful up there on the north coast of Queensland. It was gorgeous. But a few months later, we moved west to a place called Charters Towers, and it was like, there was no water. In the creeks, they were dry, sand. Everything was brown. It was like going to Mars or something. It was an amazing difference and a shock, really. And these Australians were strange people.
You got to ask yourself, why? Literally.
Well, I didn't know why. I remember when I was in Wales and we were going somewhere, you know, and my father showed me pictures of this beautiful big ship that we were travelling on back in those days, and it looked great. And so I just knew that we were going on some kind of an adventure. I didn't know that we were leaving my home country and all my relatives. And we had a wonderful time on the ship. It was fabulous, of course. And but when we got to Australia, I expected to go back home, but it didn't happen.
Yeah, I kind of get that. Now, I got to ask you, because believe me, some of the fans have been ringing in and texting my team behind me right here. And believe me, I got to let you know, I've got a young lady that's talking in my head all the time, giving me stats, giving me this, giving me that information. Well, actually, the voice in my head is actually my wife.
Hello.
Barbara?
No, not Barbara.
Why not Barbara?
No. Terry, come over here, Terry. Introduce yourself.
Hi.
Hey.
Hiding here behind my little mask.
Yeah, she's my on-air producer and gives me all the information through her little microphones and stuff like that. So believe me, it's a lot of fun. And I don't understand why they pay her to give me a voice in my head.
Well, some people get it for nothing, don't they?
Well, they are. So I got to warn you, this is like no other interview you'll ever do again, really, yeah, unless you come back and talk to me. We don't do the average 12 questions kind of thing, you know, that everybody does. We kind of do it on the fly, and I'm hoping you're going to give me a bit of stick. Now, having said that, I got to ask you, have you ever been to New Zealand?
Well, yes and no. I've been to Auckland a few times on my way to the United States and on my way back to Australia. So I've been to the airport in Auckland a few times. But, you know, I've noticed when we flew in over New Zealand to land how beautiful the country looked. I mean, the grass was so green it looked blue. It was unbelievable.
Well, we do have, it's a kind of pristine kind of country, if you know what I mean. And you'll understand where I'm leading with that a little later down the track. Now, I'm being told, how do we get hold of you, Dave? Are you on Facebook? Are you on Twitter? Are you on Instagram? But more importantly, Dave, do you respond?
Always. I always respond to all the fans. And of course, anybody that messages me in my messenger, I do all my business in Messenger. I talk to all the radio stations, record labels, magazines in my messenger. And I respond always to fans. It's a fantastic platform for business and, of course, to get out to the fans. And it's easy to go to Facebook. It's facebook.com/Dave Evans Rocks, DAVEEVANS ROCKS, .com. So, so facebook.com/Dave Evans Rocks. That's it, and you'll get me.
Absolutely stunning. Now, at the same time, do you have a website that we could go and download music from? And more importantly, do you have a merch store? Because we want to make you a bit of money.
Look, I had a website for a long, long time, but look, nobody uses websites anymore. People go to Facebook And it's comprehensive. My Facebook is absolutely comprehensive. You want videos and stuff like that, you go to my video section. You want my pics, you go to my pics. There's all albums, there's millions of photographs there. And I do respond to everybody that either messages me or even makes comments. I like them, or I say, that's great, or whatever. I use it all the time, so my Facebook is everything for me. And I don't use Snapchat, I don't use anything else, because Facebook takes up all of my time. And other people, of course, they'll pass on my messages and my albums and that kind of stuff. So, yeah, Facebook is where I do all my business and where I talk to all my fans. It's great.
You know, I feel sorry for you now. 5,000 new fans are coming your way later on today. You're going to be hellishly busy. You really are. 62 countries around the world and 94 cities apparently are hooked in right now listening to Dave Evans live. Now, founder of AC/DC. Now, tell me, Dave, this wasn't your first band, was it?
No, and also, by the way, I'm one of the co-founders of the band, and myself and Angus Young and Malcolm Young, who's passed away, and Colin Burgess on drums, he's the original drummer, and Larry Van Crete, he was the original bass player. So there were 5 co-founders. It's a little club, really, inside the AC/DC family. There's been a lot of players throughout the band. I don't know how many, 20, 25. But there's an exclusive club inside the band, the founding members, the co-founders, and I'm one of them. And so, yeah, that's great.
You know, Dave, I'm honoured, really, I'm very humbly honoured that you take the time out to talk to us here in New Zealand. And believe me, I've spoken to Angus a couple of times about his outfit. He blames Sandra.
Well, yeah, the outfit was actually made by his sister, Margaret, and when we first started with the band, we just wore jeans and shirts and that kind of stuff like everybody else did, and we had recorded a few songs, and we had Can I Sit Next to You Girl coming out as that first single, and George Young, the older brother, who was our producer, along with Harry, to look and Alvin Stardust and David Bowie, they were all looking fantastic, and it was getting away from the hippie look of the long hair, tie-dye. That was finishing, and Britain was coming out with all these cool T-Rex and all these great bands. So they asked us to look modern, as it were, and so Angus told us at one rehearsal that he was going to dress up in an English schoolboy outfit to look very young, because we wanted to get to the kids. And Malcolm was going to wear a white silk jumpsuit kind of thing, and asked the 3 of us whether we could get some outfit made, And so we looked overseas, and I looked at Slade. I really loved Slade, the band, and they wore sort of tights and boots, platform boots. Like I never had a pair. It was like, wow, yeah, okay. And I looked at Rod Stewart, who had sort of like jackets. He used to wear jackets and scarves. So I sort of, for myself, I put Rod Stewart together with Slade. I came out with that outfit, and the other boys came out with their outfits too. So when we did the film clip for Can I Sit Next to You Girl, we'd already wearing those outfits live, and so that's how, when you see Can I Sit Next to You Girl, you'll see an outfit. I haven't got the striped jacket on then, I had another outfit made, and so that was the look. That was the modern look at the time, and it worked brilliantly, because the Australian public, they really only knew us in Sydney and around, because that's where we're from, Sydney, and they hadn't seen us in Melbourne or Adelaide or anywhere, and there wasn't much TV on at the time, so when the record came out, the rest of Australia thought we were English, and it worked great, because we got a hit record out of it. And when we did tour in the other cities, Adelaide and Perth, when people actually met us, they got a surprise when we were talking with an Australian accent rather than an English accent. But it was too late by that stage. We had a hit record.
Yeah, absolutely, and congratulations for that, believe me. Because, believe me, I have been a humble fan I'm sorry to say, actually, from Bon Scott and Dirty Deeds was the entry point for me.
Yeah, sure.
Had a big effect, actually, ACDC. It's because I became an engineer and a number of other things, was a lot of that music back in those days. Of course, we transitioned into the Black Album and everything else like that as time went on. And absolutely historic. It really, really was. But Dave, did you ever expect it to be the phenomenon that it absolutely turned out to be?
Well, we always wanted to be international from the word go, because Colin Burgess, our drummer, was already famous. He'd been with the Masters Apprentices, one of my favourite bands when I was at school. He's older than us. And he'd been to England with a band. They'd recorded, Masters Apprentices had recorded in England. They had hit records out, so they'd already been international. And of course, Malcolm and Angus's older brother George from the Easy Beats, another one of my favourite bands when I was at school. I love the Easy Beats, still do. They'd already been to England and America as well, so their older brother had already been international, okay? And for myself, obviously, I'm from Wales originally, so obviously I think internationally anyway, of course. And when I think of some of the great singers from Wales, like Tom Jones, who's international, and that's what we thought of from the very beginning. So really, it's not a surprise at all. And I'm international myself now, of course. So no, it wasn't something that's like, wow, it happened internationally. That was our idea from the very beginning. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely stunning to have those goals. It really, really is. Now, we kicked off the start of the show this morning with Rockin' in the Parlour. Now, Dave, tell me a little bit about this.
Well, when I went in to record with the band, I'd never been in a recording studio in my life before. I was young, we're all young. Angus and Malcolm had, because they'd been working with George Young and stuff for years and years, so they were familiar with a recording studio. Colin Burgess too, of course, he'd recorded many, many records there. But it was my very first time in there, and it was like being in Star Trek, sitting there with a big desk there and the big glass window in front of us. With inside was the studio. It was like Star Trek, and I didn't say much really. I just sat there and listened and watched and learning everything I could. And the two songs that we recorded that first session, Can I Sit Next to You Girl and Rockin' in the Parlour, I'd never heard them before. They were brand new songs. We were doing a couple of original songs, but we were doing a lot of Rolling Stones, Chuck Berry, Free, real rock band. So Can I Sit Next to You Girl and Rockin' the Parlour, they're swing songs. They're swing. And so I'd never heard them before. So the boys put the music down, and then Malcolm, who wrote the song, just sang it to me, and George and Harry were there, and they said, right, you're on. So I just went out there and sang both songs, and turned out pretty good, so.
Absolutely love it. I really, really do. But it shows the professionalism and the skill that you hold. I really got to be honest with you. Now, back on the firing line. Just before we get into your own music, away from ACDC,
yes.
Can we touch on very, very briefly you hitting your manager?
Oh, when I was with ACDC?
Yeah.
Oh, man. we were doing the biggest shows in Australia at the time. We were doing the Sydney Opera House, the famous Sydney Opera House with first band on there. We were with Stevie Wright, who had a big hit record at the time with Evie, and also he was the singer from the Easy Beats. So we were both with Albus Records, and that was incredible. We were doing a Horton Pavilion in Sydney, Festival Hall in Melbourne, and our record was shooting through the roof down there, and in Perth. And we're doing a lot of shows, and we weren't getting paid. And we were all really upset about that, I can tell you. And the crowds loved us. We packed crowds everywhere we went, and not getting paid anything for the shows. And we had, Malcolm and Angus lived with their parents in Sydney, because I had to pay rent back in Sydney, and a couple of the other boys as well, and I was paying off a car at the time. And if I wasn't going to get paid, I was going to lose my car, I was going to lose flat, and all that sort of stuff. And we were all bitching about it, and the manager was fine. He got his 25% of whatever it was off the top. He got paid off the top, and the rest, where it went, I don't know where it went. But we didn't get anything. He was fine, flying around Australia, and his hair permed, all nice. And we got himself a nice leather valise that he was walking under his arm, all this kind of thing. So we were bitching about it, and one night we had a night off, and we went to, in Adelaide, we were on tour, and we had a few drinks, and we were all together with the manager at the hotel we were staying at, and this was brought up, and I brought it up, and the boys, and so we had a few drinks, and the manager just smart-mouthed me about something in his permed hair, and that was it. I just got up, bang, and as far as I'm concerned, he deserved it. Anyway, it was pulled apart pretty quickly, and really got it.
Absolutely. You know, I would have done exactly the same thing. I'm sorry. I got to agree with you. Absolutely. Give them a knuckle sandwich and put everything back in place. Now, back on the firing line. Tell me all about it.
Well, back in the firing line, it's an attitude. You know, I call my music badass rock. You know, and it's positive. It's all positive, and it's all empowering. And back in the firing is really about life. It's about when life knocks you down, boom, right? Okay, you get up, dust yourself off, look ahead, and back on the firing line. You don't lie down. You don't give up. You never give up. You survive and you thrive. That's my saying. Survive and thrive, okay? You don't just survive. That's no good. It's better than dying, I guess. But you survive and then you get stronger, okay? So back in the firing line just really means, like in the war, in battle, you might get wounded, but you recover and you get back on the firing line, okay? Like a soldier, it's life, the same thing. That's what it means.
Exactly, absolutely. So, live here at Galaxy, joined by Dave Evans, the man himself, back on the firing line. How you feeling, Dave? You okay?
Yeah, good. It's sort of early-ish here, but I get up fairly early.
Good morning, everyone.
You know, go for my run around the mountains, all that sort of stuff. And
Nice. I was a little worried actually because we know musicians, they usually don't dawn until about 2 in the afternoon.
Yeah, we're quite
no,
a few up.
I want to keep fit. I've got to keep fit, so I get up pretty early and you know, go for my run and walk and all that sort of stuff. And then during the day, I do my stretches and abs work and muscle definition work. And because you've got to always be ready, no matter what in life. I know I can't get out of Australia at the moment, and there's no shows at the moment. But you have to be ready at all times in case you get an interview like this. Okay, and you got to be at your best.
Absolutely.
So you can't sit around on your backside, you know, getting fat or anything like that. You got to be fit all the time. That's professional, because you never know when you're going to be in the public eye, and you've got to be ready at all times. So I'm happy. It gets me out of the house as well. I get to run around. Beautiful trees here in the mountains. It's beautiful, you know, and I enjoy life. I want to enjoy life, you know.
You know, well,
Awesome.
absolutely love that. I really, really do. From time to time, do you remember Darth Vader from Star Wars?
Yes.
You remember that sword thing he's got, the lightsaber?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Barbara's like that with this wandy thing on the end. That thing there, it's a hard hat area, my bro. It really is. You know, Osh would have a field day with us.
Hi, Sonny.
Every now
Hi,
and again,
Tommy.
you might get a donk
Hi,
in the head or
Neil.
something from there.
Hi, Melbourne
So if you
Gigs.
see that flashing past, don't worry.
Hey, can you
I'm
come
still
to
safe.
the
That's
Melbourne
what it's
gigs?
about.
Exactly,
some
Having
exactly.
fun and
about
making people
gigs.
happy. That's what it's about.
Absolutely. Who's joining us right now?
Oh, look, we've got Auckland visitor Buddy Good, John Lang, Tony Hatton, Philly D, Sonny,
Sonny's joined us from Yellow House
Pete
Studios.
Arsenal, Melbourne Gigs, Neil Ransfield,
Awesome.
Tommy Rojo.
Glad to have you along, Sonny. We've sorted out that little technical problem with the sound and everything as much as we could. So looking forward to the next allotment of interviews coming from you. And Dave, we're actually doing a project right now over in Chilliwack in Canada. There's a good friend of ours, Sonny, out of Yellow House Studios, where we're actually making a CD. Let me tell you about that. I'm just running out of time, so I better go back to the desk.
Chop, chop.
And if I can wangle it, I might be able to get you on it. Hold on.
How does that sound, Sonny?
Galaxy.
That's right, you're right here at Galaxy 107 FM, 24 away from 12 o'clock, 24 degrees. Not too bad actually, it times out quite nicely. Thursday, May the 7th, and just a little dig to my co-host in the breakfast show, 24 degrees. Yeah, you know, not 19, not 18. Told you it was going to get hotter, really. It's unseasonable, it really is.
Outside.
Now, having said that, got to say hi to Sonia over in San Antonio, Texas. That's where the Alamo is, I think, if I remember right. She's tuned in right now, wanting to pass love on to Dave Evans from,
Yeah,
you know.
Sonia. Hey, Sonia.
Nice to
No,
have
I lived in Texas. I lived in Texas for about 10 years, and in a place called Gun Barrel City. And been to San Antonio, been to the Alamo. Fantastic.
Yeah, I was actually talking to a band coming out of San Antonio a little while ago, and the young lady that is the lead singer there, she goes, Grant, it's haunted. And I went, perfect, let's get over there and have some fun. I love that, I really do. Apparently there's a hotel just down the road. You can actually see the Alamo from the hotel, again, haunted. So I want to go and do a haunted tour.
It's an amazing place. I've been inside the iconic part of the Alamo. It was a big area, but inside there, I had chills. I could hear the battle outside. It's incredible. And all the flags inside, there's all these flags of all the nationalities of the people who fought against Mexico. And the Mexican flag was there too, because there were Mexicans also fighting for Texas as well. And all the flags, and there was one Welsh flag. There was a Welshman who fought as well, and couldn't believe it. It was like, wow. But I'm getting goosebumps now, being inside that hallowed place. It was an amazing place to go to, and very historical.
I've actually been to San Antonio myself. Didn't quite actually get time to go to the Alamo. We had it booked in. But I tell you what a picturesque little place it is, really. They've got some really incredible lakey kind of things where you can go down and spend time on waterfronts in a desert.
Yeah.
It's incredible. It really is. While I'm speaking there, there's a package down there. Do you want to bring that package out for me? It's something we have yet to do. There's a little white package down there. Sorry, I'm just getting my my assistant and my production manager. Gotta let you know, we were talking to people the other day, and they says to me, okay, you've got an Australian coming up to interview, and I said, yes, well, you know, he's kind of Australian. He's been there pretty much all of his life. He does come from Wales. I don't know if he's a dolphin or anything if you come from Wales, but, you know, it's a bit of a fishy joke, really. But they said to us, now, we notice your flags, Grant. And I went, yes. And they says, please, make him feel welcome. So they sent us this.
Very nice. Very nice indeed. Very nice indeed. Thanks, Grant.
Just to make you feel at home, my friend.
Very nice indeed.
You know, it is an absolute pleasure to be able to have this in our studios as well, because we do like to be able to promote different countries around the world, if you know what I mean. And if it's comfortable for our artists to see, if you see the Old Glory there, they feel comfortable, or even a New Zealand flag or a Canadian one, or anything like that. We love to be able to, and we have a few out off the cuff ones as well. You know, there's an Italian one and stuff like that as well. So it was only fitting that we absolutely got an Australian flag. Perfect time.
That's right.
It really
Very
was.
nice.
So, my friend, and it is an absolute pleasure to talk to you today. It really, really is.
Thank you.
I asked you earlier on if you've ever been to New Zealand. You said you've been to Auckland. Well, you know, that's kind of part of New Zealand, but not the whole country. How?
No, I'm familiar. I'm familiar with New Zealand. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. An incredible place, actually. And no wonder Lord of the Rings was filmed there, because the topography of New Zealand is so. It's you've got everything over there. You've got everything in New Zealand. Fjords, like in Norway. I've been to Norway, of course. You've got the bubbling mud. You've got the mountains with the snow. You've got beautiful fields, with beautiful grass. Rivers. It's an incredible place. It's one of the most incredible places in the world. And you know that. You live there.
Yes, we do, and we are very, very proud of our country. I really, really got to say this to you, though, Dave. How would you like to come over and play for us here in New Zealand at some stage?
That would be great. You organise it and I'll be there.
Well, I tell you what, Barbara is the manager of Aurora Entertainment, and she would love to be able to set something up for you. We do have a couple of bands coming over. We thought you would just slot in perfectly with these guys, and we're talking about a Norwegian band called Viking Queen, and we may be able to do a contra here, get you over there as well, and a Canadian band called The Mighty One. Now, maybe a trio kind of thing where we can get you guys playing up and down the country, maybe about 4 or 5 shows, make a bit of pocket money. At the same time, we would like to be able to send you over to Norway, play over there as well, over in Oslo.
Norway's fantastic. I've toured there many times. In fact, I actually recorded an EP in Norway as well. What was it called? Wild. Yeah. So, but New Zealand, I'd love to come to New Zealand, and I know you guys love music, and we've had so many New Zealand bands in Australia who have made it very, very big. And you know that Australians love the New Zealand bands that come over here. So yes, if you can organise that, I'll be there. Don't worry.
Brilliant, brilliant. Now, I've got to let you know, though, as a very young engineer, I cut my teeth with a band called The Angels back in the day.
Yes, they were called the Silver Angels originally, from Adelaide. They supported me at times when I was with Rabbit, after I was with AC/DC. The Angels did support us a few times, and before they recorded, and they had their own hit records.
Absolutely. Well, believe me, I came in at the Black Album, would you believe, as their engineer, toured with them for a long, long time. And then they sent me home because I was a Kiwi. They said, we've had enough, go home. Anyway, but I've had a lot to do with Australian bands over the years. I used to stay in Newcastle back in the day with a...
great city, very great rock city. Newcastle, that's where Rabbit is from. The band I was with after AC/DC, and they love to rock in Newcastle. Great people. Great people there too. Yeah.
Absolutely, and the Steel Company over there as well, actually. I can tell you a few stories about that place. Apparently it was the very first place to invent the men's urinal.
Well, I don't know about that. I'll have to research it.
Yeah, believe me, the founder found a bit of steel and bent it in a certain direction, put a bit of water to it, and, well, made millions.
Well, that's good. Thank you very much for inventing that.
Yeah, much needed in a lot of pubs, clubs, and everywhere you want to go. The urinal, what a great invention that was. But believe me, I was an engineer in Newcastle, living on a farm with Prince Tui Teka back in the day, which is very miss Tui, we really, really do. But he had a place there called the Big Red Shed, which was basically a barn, and we used to get bands in all the time. It didn't matter whether it was a Wednesday, a Saturday, a Sunday, Monday, whatever. We had bands there. People like Jimmy Barnes when he was a young boy, Johnny Farnham, and a number of other bands through the ages, including Dragon.
Yes.
Did a lot.
Yeah, New Zealand band. Great New Zealand band. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, you know, to be quite honest,
Dragon was actually on CBS Records in Australia when I was on CBS Records with Rabbit. I remember them coming over with the new producer Peter Dawkins for CBS. He's also Kiwi as well, New Zealander, and he was the new producer who produced our second album, and he also signed up Dragon and did an album. I've done quite a few shows with Dragon, of course, because we're both on the CBS label. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, you know something, Dave, back in those days, I've got to be honest with you, I was working for Frontier Touring, and used to do a lot of touring with Australian bands. I really, really do. It's simply because, and I've got to be honest with you, all we had really in New Zealand was split ends back in the day. You know, I wanted to expand my knowledge of bands, live bands, and good music, if you know what I mean. Because I mean, split ends, you can love split ends to death, but
of course. But you also had the great Max Merritt, the Meteors. You know, what a band. The Lardy Dars. They're another great band from New Zealand. Lot of great New Zealand bands came to Australia and got adopted by Australia, of course.
Yeah, I'm being told in my ears, Max Merritt is actually a family member of my wife's down the track. So, great musicians, great bands. She's very familiar with Max, apparently, giggling away in my head. Now, only the good die young. I got to agree. I got to agree. That's why both maybe you and I are still here. But tell me about this track.
Well, it's again, it's badass rock. It's a badass attitude, and it's a saying, only the good die young. That's an old saying. We all know that, right? That's like, well, if only the good die young, then I'm going to live for 1,000 years. Because I'm so, and it's all about being a rebel. Because I was a rebel in the small town I grew up in, not because I wanted to be. It was because of the timing. And back then, the Beatles came out, long hair and all that kind of stuff, and the people in the town didn't like long hair. They didn't like my music. My father didn't like my hair long. Didn't like my music, and it was all about peace and love and all that stuff, if you remember. So we couldn't understand the aggro against us, the aggression, when we were going peace and love. It was just didn't make any sense. Not that I couldn't fight, because I could. So I took it for only so long. He pushed me on basher. So, you know, I had to do that a few times as well. But so only the good guy. It's an attitudinal thing. It's like I'm a badass and I'm going to live for 1,000 years.
Dave, I agree. You're right here at Galaxy 107 FM live with Dave Evans. Yeah, only the good die young. Gosh, Barbara, I'm sweating. What happened to the other one? Where'd it go? There it is. You were hiding. How you feeling, Dave? You okay?
Yeah, good.
You don't need anything to drink yet?
Oh, no, I'm fine. Fine at the moment.
Okay, no, I just thought maybe, just to settle the nerves of talking to a New
Actually,
Zealander.
I might give it a sip of water and come back.
There you go.
It sounds AC, like it's AC/DC, doesn't it?
Oh, really? It really
No.
is. You can hear AC/DC in this, can't you?
Hi everyone. Hi Michael.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Believe me, a sensation in the music industry, an absolute hero to music, and a legend joining us, Dave Evans, co-founder of AC/DC. Now we're into his own stuff, and he performs this still today live.
Okay, rocket.
You're rocking, nice. So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions about coming to New Zealand, what we do here. Are you up for a challenge?
My what?
Are you up for a challenge?
No.
No. No. Okay. Us Kiwis, as you would know, are kind of crazy. So we like to have a little bit of fun. So if you're going to come to New Zealand, I'm going to give you an idea of what to expect, okay? Because
I've got lots of Kiwi friends. Mother Goose, boys from Mother Goose. They're friends of mine.
A little bit of baked beans.
No, good pals. New Zealanders are New Zealanders, Australians are Australians. We're sort of similar, but we're not.
This is true. I mean, we have a female for a Prime Minister.
Yeah, I know.
She's pretty too.
No, the Kiwi friends I've had, they're all a lot of fun. And I had a lot of Maori friends when I lived down in Bondi years and years ago. I had a lot of Maori friends, and they were a lot of fun, and they love their music too, of course.
Absolutely, absolutely. And believe me, bro, I would be absolutely elated to spend some time with you here in New Zealand. We'll talk about that when we go back to the desk. Actually.
Yeah, I'd love to come, of course.
Believe me, bro, we do have a few things in mind. I think it would work perfectly with you. And
you guys work it out.
Absolutely,
And
absolutely.
I'll be there, right?
Absolutely. Through this, I've got to warn you, I'll ask you maybe 5 questions from the 50 questions of Grant, or the 50 shades of Grant. And, it's a bit of fun coming up. So let's do this.
So here we go.
Good die young, but I'm gonna live. I'm gonna live. I'm gonna
That's right, you're right here at Galaxy 107 FM, 8 away from 12 o'clock. It is 24 degrees downtown. Yeah, the weatherman said 18 degrees, so he didn't stand a chance. Anyway, Thursday, May the 7th, and I'm absolutely elated to be joined by legend himself, Dave Evans. And believe me, Dave, for me, it is a lifetime thing where I absolutely love what you started and how it grew to what it is today, literally. And believe me, I'm looking forward to meeting you live here in New Zealand and spending some time together. Of course, I've got a few mates that we're going to be doing a few things with. But I've got to ask you now, you said you've hung out with Kiwis before, especially a couple of Maoris and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Did they ever educate you about the hoo-hoo grub?
The what?
Hoo-hoo grub. H-U-H-U.
No.
Okay, you're familiar with the caterpillar, right?
Yeah, I've never heard that one.
Okay,
There were other things that we were educating each other with at the time.
well, the hoo-hoo grub is like a double-decker bus to a mini. It's really big. It's white. It's got a black head, actually. And what you do is when you put the live body in the mouth, you rip off the head. Don't eat that, it's yucky. But when you crunch down on this, it's like eating creamy peanut butter.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yep,
Cool.
it's just one of these things that we do with people when we bring them into the country. There's a thing down the west coast of the South Island called, in Hokitika actually, called the Wild Foods Festival. So, you know, we kind of fry stuff we shouldn't really fry, to be honest. But it's a lot of fun to do. I've been trying to talk them into getting one of these kiosks where you can dip women in chocolate.
Ah, you Kiwis are crazy.
I'm sure I have, actually. And believe me, I think it would be a lot of fun. But we could take you down to Queenstown. Now, down Queenstown, it's sort of like a little boutique kind of place. Of course, Keanu Reeves and Kevin Costner were down there not so long ago. Of course, Shania Twain owns property down there, so you never know who you might run into. And a good friend of mine, AJ Hackett, down there, has a thing called, well, I don't know, we might throw him off a bridge. What do you reckon?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, we'll throw him off a bridge.
Really?
Yeah, we have a thing called bungee jumping.
No. I always did that one time. I thought, look, I do a lot of things. I climb mountains. I've been all sorts of parachutes and all sorts of things. And I thought, well, no, I've got a lot of rocking to do still yet. And there's something. I do some crazy things, but that I just looked down and went, no.
Challenge yourself. Believe me, I'm an avid skydiver too. If you feel like stepping out of a plane, I'll go with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, we can do this. In fact, Rotorua is a good place to start, actually, because that's where the bubbly mud's and everything like that.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
You mentioned Lord of the Rings. Now, of course, Sir Peter is a good friend of ours. I've known him for many, many years, especially when he was down in Dunedin doing his university stuff way back in the day. And Sir Peter Jackson, if you're watching, love you, really do. But about an hour and a half away from where we are right here in Kawerau in the Bay of Plenty is of course Middle Earth. Now, while you're over here, we'd love to be able to maybe cause a bit of chaos and havoc right in Middle Earth. What do you reckon?
Well, that'd be a dream, really. I mean, I read Lord of the Rings in my early 20s, of course. We all did back in those days. It was the most amazing book, series of books, and The Hobbit as well. And the series that was made of Lord of the Rings there in New Zealand, as we all know, is masterpieces, absolute masterpieces. And I said the people all around the world got to see New Zealand. The topography of New Zealand is just an incredible place, and to go there would be fantastic. Yeah.
Absolutely, we will do that. But I tell you what, and I got to warn people. Back in the day when Sir Peter used to be just Pete, he made a movie called Meet the Feebles. Now, if you ever get a chance to go and download that movie, have a look at it, well, you'll understand about Sir Peter's sense of humour before he became serious. He really does. I'm being told I've got to tell everybody that Vodafone network outage right now in the major Bay of Plenty area. So if you're trying to make phone calls and everything on Vodafone right now, they are down. Okay, so hang fire. You'll be fine, literally. And, you know, they still have a thing called a telephone landline. They really do. Or, you know, use a computer. So, never mind about Vodafone. Now, Dave, I want to talk to you about Put Up, Shut Up. Now, you still perform these songs, don't you?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. That's right. Put up or shut up. It's an old saying, we know. People talking behind your back, usually. One way to fix the problem with these backstabbers, you just walk up to them and say, put up or shut up. So they either fight you or they shut up because you're going to bash them. So that's an old saying, and it works. I used to do it at school. And so it's more metaphoric these days, of course, but people all around the world absolutely connect with this song because people talk behind your back all the time, on Facebook too. They're all slandering you and saying bad things. And when Dave Evans comes on with the solution, they love it.
Absolutely, Dave. Believe me, I used to say, put your hair up and square up.
Yeah, that's it, square up, yeah.
Exactly. So, right here at Galaxy 107 FM, joined live by Dave Evans, coming out of the Blue Mountains. Yes, put up, shut up. you feeling, my friend?
Oh, good, yeah. I'm going to have a nice cup of coffee
Hey
after this. That'll be
Ryan,
really
don't
good.
forget to send
Nice.
your new tracks. And Peggy, love you, darling.
Peggy Nora,
Yeah.
nice to have you along.
Hey,
Peggy.
you need to send your MP3 by email.
Yeah.
It wasn't attached.
Yeah, apparently you sent it to production and you sent the email but no attachment, so please send it to us. We want to play it. We really do.
Here you go, Dave.
Yeah, so we would probably try and get you in touch with a good friend of ours over in Norway called Geir Miranda. And he's bringing the Biking Queen here to New Zealand next year. And
Yes.
we would, he's also got a guy called Kai Zombie who... have you ever heard of the band The Who? Not
Who?
The Who, yeah, not WHO,
Oh, yeah.
but HU. And
Well, like from China.
Mongolia.
Mongolia, I think.
They don't want to be close
Something like
to
that, yeah.
Chinese.
But believe me, great band. Well, Kai Zombie does the same kind of music. Now, he's going to be a guest artist.
Yeah.
He's going to be a guest artist, but we would love to be
Very
able to include you into this, if you know what I mean. And just quietly, I really do think
Tim,
that you will like these
don't
guys.
forget
Same
Tim.
flavour of music, same style, same attitude. Let's get pissed and have a good time, kind of thing. You know?
I'll do,
Yes,
t-
that's
I'll
what we do.
do
We have a good time and we make people happy. That's what we do for a living.
Exactly.
And it's a privilege to be able to do that.
Absolutely. And you know something? I would love to be able to do what you do. I just can't. You know what I mean?
Well, you're doing a bloody good job there, Grant. And the thing is, people like myself, we need people like you, of course, to get our music out there. So it's a synergy. It's a
Well,
synergy.
back at you, my friend, because if it wasn't for people like you, I wouldn't have a job.
It's all a synergy. It's all good.
Absolutely. I want to talk very briefly about A Hell of a Night, Sinner and Wild, if that's okay with you.
Okay.
Because, believe me, 3 great albums,
Yeah.
you know?
I'm all about quality, and because I grew up in an era when I was a kid with the Beatles, every song was a killer, no song a filler. The early Rolling Stones as well, every song a killer, no song a filler. That's how it was back in those days, okay? And so with my own albums, I have that same attitude. If I want 10 songs, I'll write 14 or 15 songs, and I'll keep the best 10. If I want 12 songs, I'll write 16 or 17 songs, and I'll keep the best 12. I don't just keep a song because I write it. They're still good songs, but I want them to be killers. And that's how I do my albums. I make sure every song is a killer song, and I won't go down from that. I won't compromise at all.
I wouldn't expect you to. Let's go back to the desk.
Oh, he stabbed you.
You almost got me that time. Oh dear. You know, it's still quite seasonably warm in here. I got to be honest with you, it's quite hot in here. 21 degrees outside. It is 3 after 12 o'clock and Thursday, May the 7th. Absolutely humbled and elated to join legend Dave Evans coming out of the Blue Mountains. And believe me, Dave, I don't know whether you've had anybody do this to you in a long time, but please accept it from me because
Thank you.
I absolutely love your style. I really do. Since 2001, Dave has released 6 solo albums. His best, A Hell of a Night. Now, I love this album. I really do. I've had a good listen to it. Why A Hell of a Night? What did you get up to?
Well, that's a live album, right? Yeah. Well, I was in Sydney here in Sydney at the time, and friends of mine in Melbourne, Australia, rang me, and I'd worked with 1 or 2 of them before, good friends, and they said that they were doing a special concert in February as the 20th anniversary of Bon Scott's death. back then. And I said, oh, wow, really? Time flies, you know. And I said, well, congratulations. They said, can you come down and do something with us to commemorate Bon Scott? Because I knew Bon Scott. I met him before he joined the band. He used to hang around us. He was a big fan of us. And so I said, well, how many songs do you want me to do? You know, they said as many as you want. And I said, okay, I'll do something for him. And nobody else was doing anything. Nobody else in the world was doing anything on the 20th anniversary of Bon Scott's death at all, except for my band, these friends of mine in Melbourne. And so I thought, well, okay, sure. And I'll think about how many songs I want to do. So I did. I sat down and I came up with 6 songs that I wanted to do. And I called them. I said, look, I'll do them. I'll come down and do the show, because they're playing anyway. They're an AC/DC cover band. And I said, I'll come down and do these 6 songs, but I want them recorded. I said, I want them recorded because it's the 20th anniversary of his death, which is a milestone. Nobody else in the world is doing anything for this milestone. And I said, I want it recorded so that the fans around the world, if they want this album, they can get something in their hands. They'll have me singing, because I knew Bon. And he used to do my songs when he joined the band anyway, so I thought I'll do a couple of his songs. And it'll be something tangible to remember as a milestone. So they said, yeah, we'll get them. I said, I want the best live sound guys in Melbourne. I know we'll get the best. And so it got out what I was doing, and of course we got messages from all around the world congratulating us on doing this show. You know, before we even did the show, I even got one message from Nepal up there in India, and the mountains in Nepal going, congratulations. So it was amazing. And so I flew down to Melbourne and did the show, of course. And it was recorded from when I stepped on stage to when I actually finished. It's not cut into songs. It's the whole show's there. And I didn't know how it was going to go. Who knows? It's a live situation. And it was an amazing night. And the crowd was packed. It was a pub. We wanted to do it in a pub because we started off as pub rock. So we wanted to do a pub, and it was outside. It was just amazing. And it was a hot night. It had been over 40 degrees or over 100 degrees every day for about 3 or 4 days. And that night, it was still really hot. And they didn't have the air conditioning on in this bloody hotel at all. And there was sardines in there, like little sardines. It was packed. And I had the lights, of course, on me as well on the stage. And it was an incredible night. And afterwards, I flew back to Australia the next day, and I was in bed sick for 3 days from dehydration. It just took it out of me. I was sweating and hot, and so I was sick for 3 days after that show. And but it was an incredible night, and of course I'm glad I did it because it was amazing. It was recorded, of course, which is fantastic. And so it was put out on a Texas label. I remember the name of the label now. It was released all that time ago. But if you go on YouTube, or if you go on Google or search engine and search for Dave Evans, A Hell of a Night, you'll get it. Now I was thinking about what to call the album, and I'd recovered by this stage. I was all right now, and I'm thinking to myself, God, that was a hell of a night. And I went, well, there it is. There it is.
Self-explanatory right there. Glad you didn't need any bail money.
No.
Believe me, that's a hell of a night here in New Zealand. It really is. Now, having said that, Dave, I got to let you know, I used to tour with an Australian band. We went around the world. 4 letters. It starts with I and ends with an X. You may know them. Went around 36 months. We went around the world up until a particular incident that kind of stopped it in its tracks. But we used to have a few ballets with us that used to try and point us in the right directions. Let's go to the museums. Let's go do all the official meets and greets and mayors and all the dignitaries, stuff like that. So we used to try and ditch these guys like crazy. And I got to let you know, I was in Amsterdam one day and I managed to ditch this guy like crazy. I got absolutely out of there. And this guy was looking for us. He really, really was. And I found this place upstairs. I ran up these stairs, and at the top of the stairs was this door that said country music, country dancing. And I thought, oh, okay, I'm going to get a little bit of boot scooting going on because we'd just come out of America at the time. Get in there, and here's all these traditional Dutch dances. And we're talking ribbons and fancy colours and bells and everything like this. This young, blonde, blue-eyed lady comes bounding up to me, and I mean literally bounding up to me, and she's batting her eyelids at me and she goes, do you clog?
Clog?
Do I clog? I looked at her and I went, only if I eat too much cheese.
I could learn,
Yeah, only if I eat too much cheese. Literally. Needless to say, I didn't get a date that night, I've got to be honest with you. Would have been nice though, actually, in that outfit. But I just couldn't see how the heck they could stay balanced in those boats that they were wearing, wooden shoes. Anything like that ever happened to you overseas while you were away? Have you ever had to find the time just to bugger off?
Look, I'm very diplomatic with people, of course, and I'm always very nice to people unless they push me the wrong way, and then they'll see what badass really means. But no, there are times I've got to rush away is when I get mobbed. You know, it still happens. The crowds will just mob you, and in South America, especially, I've got to get. I have to get guards around me and whisk me away in the limousine, and all. That's still happening right now. And because the crowds, they get a mob mentality, they go crazy, they don't see you as a real person. And 50, 60, 100 people come charging at you, just get me out of here. So yeah, when that happens, I've just got to go right away. And but normally if the crowd's okay, I'll talk to them, I'll get photographs with them. But so now and again they just stampede and I'm out of there.
Believe me, I know what you mean. In some countries we had literally police with black outfits, black helmets and submachine guns escorting us everywhere we went at one stage there. It was ridiculous. It really, really was. So I really didn't want anybody to be shot on sight.
Shoot on sight.
Good segue. Good segue. Tell me about Shoot on Sight.
Well, look, I only wrote part of that song. Mark Tinson, who actually produced Sinner and Judgment Day, both albums I did. He was in Rabbit with me. He was guitarist, one of the guitarists in Rabbit and founder of the band, actually. And we wrote quite a few songs together in Rabbit too. And so he sort of wrote most of the song. I wrote a few lines in it, that's all really. And it's really about two people. I guided it a little bit. He was getting a little bit sort of pointed about it, but I sort of put a bit more passion and romance into the song, really. And it's really about two people who meet, and they just can't keep away from each other. It's like they've been nice, but they know that the attraction is so strong that nothing's gonna keep them apart. And it's like Shoot on Sight. About a man who just, whenever he sees his girl, he just wants to make love to her all the time.
I remember
Shoot on Sight, yeah.
I remember days like that. long time ago, but I do remember them right here at Galaxy
He's
here.
a bad man who just wants to make love to the woman every time he sees her, and she there's no resistance there because she wants him. That's
You know, I remember half of those days. I remember me being the one wanting. All the time. You're right here, live at Galaxy 107 FM with legend Dave Evans. Here.
And of course, Mark Tinson is fantastic. He wrote most of that song. And the riffs, he's a riff master. Mark Tinson is a great talent. He's a producer as well these days, and he's won many awards in Australia for his production and songwriting. And he was in Rabbit with me, and his riffs are incredible. I call him the riff master. And listen to this riff. It's another one of his fantastic riffs. Oh.
I love it. I really, really love it. Here at Galaxy, Dave Evans, shoot, on side. Okay, Dave, so the next one, of course, is our world release.
Oh, yeah, of course, that's right.
Yeah. We don't want to forget about Troy.
I was having such a good time, I forgot
That's funny.
Sorry
That's
about
great.
I don't know whether to apologise or not now. Hey, tell me.
That's fine. Well, that's when I was in Texas. Badass is an American term, like a lot of terms are, like okay and all that sort of stuff. They used to say, Dave, you're the king of all badasses. It was my British, Welsh, and Australian attitude. Straight in your face, you know how it is. You straight at you. And Americans are nice people. I like them, but they like to have a meeting and have a talk about it. Well, let's sort of talk about the situation. Me, it's like cut to the fucking chase. This is it. And they're like, wow. And of course, on stage, my music, and they say, Dave, you're just the king of all badasses. So I got that nickname from Texas, and they should know they've had their share of badasses in Texas. So it became a king of all badasses, and then it's sort of badass boy and that sort of stuff. So Troy and I, Troy was writing a song with me, and he had a song, and the title and stuff, and he said, what do you call it? Bad boy. Bad boy. And I went, no, badass boy. And he went, oh yeah, badass boy. So yeah, so then we got the song together from there. So his original idea was I'm a bad boy, right? And I went, no, we kept half of that. I said, no, badass boy. And then when you get the idea of that, then you can start writing the lyrics, because you go, right, I know what the song's about now. So badass is from Texas. They call me king of all badasses there. And Troy's idea was I'm a bad boy. And I went, whoa, you can keep that, but the second part of the verse is I'm a badass boy.
There you go.
So that's how that came out.
There you go. And we're going to send this over to Troy so that he can have a copy of this as well. Troy, have a Coke on me? Absolutely. Troy loves Coke. He's a Coke freak. And I'm not talking about this Coke, I'm talking about...
No, I drink Diet Coke. Diet Coke, I love Diet Coke.
Absolutely. So thank you, Troy, for today. We must catch up very, very shortly. I want to introduce you to Dave and get you both talking to each other. Let's go back to the desk. You can't find your own thumb, can you? 13 after 12 o'clock, it is 23 degrees downtown. Thursday, May the 7th. And Dave, I've got to warn you, I've got staff members in the background here taking photos left, right and centre. We will send you all of those. We really will.
Fantastic.
We'll transpose this Facebook Live, where everybody's been joining us this morning. Send you a copy of that as well. And I will apologise now, because believe me, some of the photos, well, you might want to put them on your phone, show them to your friends and say, look, Kiwis haven't changed. They're still unhealthy.
I don't expect you guys to change, and your Kiwis, keep it up.
Absolutely, Dave. And well, we've come to what I would call the absolute pinnacle of the show. Now, all the way through this, I have been in Dave Evans heaven. Literally, I've just absolutely been eating this up like there's no tomorrow. But we got to do the bizzo right now and break brand spanking new sounds to the world. Now, this is a collaboration between you and Troy Q Tipton.
Yes.
You've never spoken.
No.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Troy's out of Cincinnati, in Ohio, and he's friends with other friends of mine that, who I toured with in Ohio and Pennsylvania. And I guess they were talking about me, and Troy's a great songwriter. He writes the most fantastic songs, and he's a great singer himself. And a great guitarist. He's a very multi-talented guy. And he got in contact with me through friends of mine. And really just, he's a fan, of course, and he asked if I wanted to do a song with him. And I get requests like this, of course, as I will, from many sources, and I'm always polite about it. I'm very particular about my music, of course, my input. So I just said, oh, okay, send me something, nice tune. And he did, and I heard some of his songs, and they were killers. They were absolute killer songs, and he's a great singer too, and song and guitar. Oh wow, where did this guy come from? So I got back in touch with him and said, yeah, cool, I love your stuff, I'm a fan of yours too now, you're a fan of mine, I'm a fan of yours. So we said, okay, we'll write a song together, and so we'll do that. And that's how Badass Boy came about. So he put the music down in the United States and sent it to Jeff Silverman, the producer, award-winning producer in Nashville, Tennessee. And I was in South America. I was in Buenos Aires, in Argentina, when they finished all this. And so they sent it to me down there in Buenos Aires, and it was fantastic. And so I went into a studio in Buenos Aires, and I put the vocals down there. And then I sent that back to Troy in Cincinnati, and he loved it, and he sent it to Jeff Silverman in Nashville, and he just did a fantastic job. Wow, Jeff's amazing. And then we had Badass Boy. I've never spoken to Troy on the phone or anything.
Well, I got to tell you, Dave, you and I are going to have to get together very, very shortly, because I'm going to get Troy on the line. Unfortunately, today he's a little indisposed, which is a shame. It is a shame. He really wanted to be here, but other things took precedence, unfortunately, especially in these surreal times.
Of course. The time zones, of course.
It's kind of crazy these days. I've got to ask you, how's it going over in Australia right now with this COVID-19? How are you guys going?
I'm going great. I'm in the mountains. I get out and go for my run every morning, go up the store. It's pretty normal for me. There's no difference for me here. And the people here are pretty cool. Everybody's just fine. You just go shopping. You just go whatever. I'm itching to get out of Australia, to get back to South America. And Europe too, of course. And now, also, New Brazil.
There you go, there you go. I got to let you know though, the last time I was in Brazil, I was actually in a bar and they had this little bowl of peanuts, right? Brazilian nuts. And I'm sitting there talking to this very sexy barmaid and I looked at her and I went, Brazil nuts? And she goes, no, nuts.
Brazil nuts, of course, are famous.
Yeah, no, you're in Brazil, they're just nuts.
Yeah, they're just nuts. Yeah, in Brazil, they're just nuts.
Yeah, but
The Australian kangaroo, in Australia, they're just kangaroos.
yeah, exactly. But I was going to talk to her about another Brazilian kind of thing, but she wouldn't hear of it.
Okay. Brazil's amazing. Brazil is another amazing place. Incredible, yeah.
Absolutely, I love it. I really do. I've been there a couple of times, and well, you know, you got some really eclectic kind of people over there, really, don't you?
Yeah, look, it's amazing. Latin America is an incredible place. The Latin American people are fantastic. Mexico, I love Mexico. Incredible place. Colombia, of course. Argentina, I love my friends in Argentina. They're close buddies of mine, and yeah, they love the music there, and they let you know too. They rock hard, and but they're not stupid. They know all the music around the world. You know, they know all the bands. But yeah,
That's easy though, Dave, because they listen to Galaxy.
there you go.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Here's one for you, and believe me, I was really surprised about this. I was doing an interview a number of months ago, and a guy called Doc Yates, actually, and the real doctor too, doctor. And he says, Grant, I've got a Galaxy story for you. And I went, okay, this is going to be interesting. I'm expecting some sort of smarty thing. And he says, well, my drummer was actually at a famous car race. I'm not quite sure what the car race was, but it's one of these stock car races that they had, very, very famous one. And he was sitting there, and he was sitting next to a couple of Australians. And he started up a conversation with them, and they went, yes, we know who you are. And he went, how do you know who we are? And he goes, the woman turns around and goes, we listen to Galaxy 107 FM in New Zealand.
Well, that's great for you guys. I know you Kiwis, you New Zealanders are very proud of being New Zealanders and very proud of your country, and so you should. And Air New Zealand, what an airline. You guys have got the best airline in the world. I've travelled on Air New Zealand a few times, and they're the best airlines. Fantastic.
Well, you know, we as Kiwis and you guys as our neighbours over there, we need to tie these ties a little bit closer. We've been sort of drifting apart a little bit over the years. So we want to do the Trans-Tasman thing and get you over here with a number of our friends. Let's go and kick some ass and have some fun. What do you reckon?
Of course, I'm on it. You guys organise it, and I'll organise it too.
And I'm not going to apologise for that. Using a Gear Marinda saying, of course, being the manager of Viking Queen, that we run the ads. He says kick some ass. So I'm allowed to say that. In the meantime, right here, with the legend himself, of course, I'm talking about Dave Evans, let's release to the world Badass Boy on Galaxy.
I'm a bad, 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 bad.
It's hotter than the above. You're okay? How are you going over there? You're right? You're nodding away nicely. I'm sweating like crazy. I really am. We have this Kiwi air conditioning. It's called Open a Bloody Window. So, Dave, I hope you've enjoyed this. I really would love you. I would love you to come back.
Time and really nice to meet Hugh Grant and Barbara, of course, to be able to speak to you like this, which I've never done with Troy.
Oh, Troy, you're getting a dig.
So, if we can organise something like that, talking to Troy on your show sometime, that would be really fantastic. We can do that as a special one time. Yeah, and you can tell the people that we're going to be on together for the first time. If
We'll
you like.
release the song.
And of course we can talk about once this coronavirus bullshit's. But the thing is, we're supposed to be Australia and New Zealand are talking right now about flying across because we've got virtually no virus here, and you guys are the same.
Exactly.
So at the moment they're talking about allowing New Zealanders and Australians to be able to fly international.
Well,
so it could happen, and who knows.
Our rugby league team, the Warriors, are already over there. They left a couple of days ago. So
Yeah. So okay, if you guys have got some ideas, I'm very happy to speak with you about that, because I'd love to come to New Zealand. It's a beautiful part of the world, and I've been all over the world. I've been right throughout Europe, right throughout North America, Canada, everywhere, Central America, all throughout South America, Asia. I've been bloody everywhere, but I haven't been over New Zealand. So.
Well, I'll tell you what, Dave, I will take you to some places that tourists don't go.
They're good, and that's what I do.
And
when I tour on my days off, I don't drink anymore. I haven't for years. I don't take any drugs or anything like that. So my days off, the locals take me all over their country, everywhere I go, and it's amazing. I see the whole world, and that's the joy for me. Is really more than even doing the shows for me. Is actually seeing the countries, seeing the people out in the bush or where they are, eating the food, the local food, all that sort of stuff. That's my joy of touring, is actually the tourist part.
you know, Dave, I get it. I do. I really get it. When I was touring around the world with bands, same thing. Nothing like local knowledge and local events.
Locals, they'll take you to all the best places, the best restaurants, all the secret little places that nobody knows.
Exactly. We'll wrap it up for here, but don't go anywhere just yet, Dave. We've got a couple of things we do after this. A couple of crazy photos, stuff like that. We'll put them on the website and stuff.
Yeah.
So hang in there, but we'll just wrap it up for now. That's right, you're right here at Galaxy 107 FM. I know it's gone on a little bit longer, but believe me, for me, it has been absolutely worthwhile. I gotta say, big props to Dave Evans for hanging in there with a bearded old man like me. And believe me, apparently we're going down to level 2 very, very shortly with this COVID thing, but they want everybody to wear a mask. Well, I don't need one. I'm fine. I got one. Maybe a rubber band, but I'm fine. 28 away from 1 o'clock, 22 degrees downtown, Thursday, May the 7th. And Dave Evans, please, will you come back and talk to us again?
Yes, of course I will, and hopefully next time with Troy. And that'll be fantastic. I just want to thank you, Grant and Barbara and Galaxy. Thank you very, very much. And I look forward to receiving the photographs and all that kind of stuff from my Facebook. And also being on your show again in the future.
Dave, it has been an absolute honour for me. I am absolutely elated to make your acquaintance, and we will send you some of those photos. You can show all your friends, and I don't care if you give me a bit of stick, because you were so polite today. I said, give me some stick, and you didn't.
Pull it up or shut up.
Exactly. So, Dave, hang in there. We will get to you very, very shortly. But right now, we're going to go to Studio B with Tina Charles and Shay.